So, I had this crazy idea, maybe, just maybe, I could make the Mandalorians Razor Crest out of junk. So let's start scratching that build. First off, always have reference photos that you're totally going to ignore during the build process. Pretend that you're studying these plans like a professional and taking careful measurements. Never let the audience watching know you're not actually going to do a scale model and it's just going to be eyeballed throughout the build. Pick a random shampoo bottle that kind of looks like the main body of the Razor Crest. Next, introduce the shampoo bottle to some friends. This plastic is way too shiny, so sand down vigorously to within an inch of its life. You're a minute into the video and you haven't cut anything up yet, so find a hacksaw and quickly cut some plastic. Jump cut to a hand holding disposable spoons. These are going to be turned into the engine shortly. We just need to snip, snip, snip away. Totally confuse the audience by randomly cutting to a bunch of cardboard. Cut out cute little looking rectangles from the cardboard and just stick on the rim of the plastic bottles. EVA foam. Okay, so I thought I could use this as panels, but as you'll soon see, it didn't go to plan. The idea was simple. I was going to cut some more little shapes out for this and stick it onto the main body of the spaceship. As you can see, I used that and then the cardboard just to give it some sort of like rocket feature, and then I thought, oh, I'm going to use some more EVA foam for this because I've done this before, I know what I'm doing. No, didn't turn out right, because as you'll see once this goes on the bottle, it just looked too thick and clumpy. That's me just giving it a little spritz of deodorant, and then I'm looking and I'm looking and I'm thinking, no, this edge isn't right, it's not looking good. So I went away, had a think, came back and just ripped it all off. Just didn't like how it was sitting, there was too much of a gap. So yeah, just took all that off, and this is what half of scratch building is all about, is, you know, just trying to do stuff, and if it doesn't work, just rip it off and start again. So I decided just to stick with the cardboard, and what I'm going to do now is just put that piece onto there, which will then stick onto the main body of the spaceship. Bear in mind, I didn't take any measurements and just eyeballed all this, so there was a couple of hours of me going back and forth trying to make little templates just to try and get this to fit. So once I got all that working, then everything else sort of like fell into place. Two ping pong balls, well, one ping pong ball, there we go, two ping pong balls. Going to use these, I'm going to try and cut it down, oh here we go again. Right, blue tack onto the bench, stick the ping pong ball onto the blue tack. Simples. Now it may look like an idiot is holding a hobby knife, and you'd be right, but I do know when it's not safe, so I swapped over and used the smaller knife just so I could get a little, oh hang on now, these ping pong balls are slightly thicker than the normal ones. I might have to cut these with a hacksaw. So this ping pong ball was one tough cookie, so I resorted to the hacksaw. Finally, the ping pong ball was in two, and I'm going to use some hot glue and just stick them onto the bottoms of the plastic bottles. Okay, more spoons. I've used the spoony bit to cut out this like that, so I could stick them on to the rockets. So here's a quick shot of me cutting lots of these little things out of spoons. Two random soda lids are going to be used. I'm just going to put them onto the edges there, like that. And then to cover all that up, I'm just going to use the cut out spoony bits to make it look like rockets. And when I mean rockets, I obviously mean rocket engines. Okay, so it's code word time. Leave this code word before you leave the comment, just so I know that you didn't skip all the way to the glamour shots. And if you're doing that, please like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you. Remember at the start when I cut this shampoo bottle, I'm just going to use that styrene just to cover up the gap and get the shape of the Razor Crest back end, as you say. I'm just fixing one side of the wing to the main body before fixing the other side of the wing. And this is where cardboard is your friend, because once you start adding cardboard, it starts changing the shape of what you're making. Another bigger piece of cardboard is fitted to not only give strength to the wings, but to change the entire shape of what I'm making. I won't bore you with the underneath bit, but I just kept adding bits and pieces of cardboard until everything was fully enclosed. I'm just cutting away some random piece of cardboard that isn't needed. And there you have the main shape of the Razor Crest. I know it doesn't look like much, but hell, it's getting there. Adding the pointy bits to the back of the Razor Crest. I use cardboard just to detail up the back of the rocket engine. I keep calling it a rocket, it's an engine. I reverted back to cardboard and just cut out some squares and just detailed it up the rocket engine. I got it right this time. Do all that for both engines and it'll end up like this. Front engine's done, so it's time for the back. Just with smaller squares of cardboard, I'm just going to repeat the process. More spoons. This time I'm going to use these as the landing legs for the Razor Crest. To make sure that the legs will stick together, I'm going to use super glue and baking soda or baking powder, whichever you can find off the shelf. Also, I think it was Cracked Minis that made a point of this. Don't get super glue and baking soda on your fingers because it will burn you. There's my public service announcement. Now, the only drawback of not doing any sort of measurements is sometimes you make a boo-boo, and I made one big boo-boo. I cut these legs too short, so I had to go back and cut out some smaller bits of EVA foam to wrap them around the legs, just so everything would sit level. I need something to make a cockpit. This'll do. I took it from one of the other half's many cosmetic bottles. Just going to chop it down into two, and that should fit the front of the Razor Crest. Dramatic shot of me hoovering up my cutting mat using my new tool. It's probably supposed to be for a keyboard, but since I got this under €10, I love it and it actually works. So it's great for cleaning up all the bits and pieces of plastic. Don't know its name, not going to tell you its name simply because I'm not sponsored by that company. Gluing one half of the cosmetic lid to the front of the cockpit. Well, I would if it would stick. Never mind, let's move on to something else. This is the underneath of a toy car, and I need something for the top of the Razor Crest, so I'm just going to chop chop chop. And yes, this piece of plastic will fit perfectly there. Random plastic check. Half of the cosmetic bottle check. Half a soda lid check. Because the back half of the Razor Crest had a little bit of a curve, I'm just going to use some thicker EVA foam. I need to cover these edges. Oh, here we go again. I'll tell you what, I'll just spare you all this and just say that it was smaller little bits of cardboard that I just stick around the edge. I deviated a little bit from the actual Razor Crest and just added some of my own greeblies. The inside rims of a toy wheel car goes into the front of the engines. Adding some tank wheels and some sprues. I noticed that the Razor Crest has some rocket launcher cannons, laser things, either side of the cockpit, so I just rustled up some cheap as chips Lego and fashioned them into some sort of laser cannon. Now that's a lot of cardboard to just be painting straight onto it. That wouldn't work, so what I'm going to do is just douse it all with Mod Podge. Let that dry, then hit it with another round of Mod Podge, and then it should be all sealed in, ready for the paint. After I'd hit it a few times, well, not literally hit it a few times, after I'd sprayed it a few times with a rattle can of black, it was on to various different colours of grey. Leaving the grey to fully dry, I then went over it in metallic silver. After that, I did my variation of the yellow Go Faster stripe down each side of the Razor Crest, and then hit it with some black panel liner and some weathering powders. And that is basically how I scratch built my own Razor Crest. It turned out alright, even if I do say so myself. I didn't go too overboard with everything. I tried to keep it as simple as possible, and that is it. We're approaching the glamour shots, so thank you very much for watching. Please like, subscribe, leave a comment. Don't forget the code word before the comment, and until next time, keep scratching that build, everybody. This is the way.